Hey guys, what's up? Pastor Myers here, and I'm just dropping a quick video. This is going to be a response video to a video that was put up a few days ago addressing the issue of the scapegoat. Now, I've already done an entire sermon on this, so if you haven't seen that, I'm going to encourage you to check that out. The sermon is entitled Who is Azazel, or Who is a Scapegoat? But I just wanted to do this follow-up, only be a few minutes, so won't be long at all. But before we get into this video, this response video, I want to encourage you to make sure you subscribe. And if you want to support Power of the Lamb Ministries, look in the link for the Patreon link. That is going to be the best way you can support this ministry and help us to continue putting forth material that's going to help you and strengthen your walk with Christ. Okay, so I'm going to share a video. I'm not going to show the individual. I just want you to hear his voice, and I want you to hear what he has to say about the scapegoat and why he believes the scapegoat is Jesus. I'm going to come back on the other end of the video, and we're going to address that very point. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Who this individual is not important. We just want to focus on what they are saying, all right? So listen for the voice, and then I'll come back on the other end. Check it out.
That entire Day of Atonement ritual symbolizes Jesus. Jesus is symbolized by the high priest. Jesus is symbolized by the goat that died. Jesus is symbolized by the goat that was sent away to bear the sins of others. In fact, that's precisely what a scapegoat is. A scapegoat was an innocent victim. That's what a scapegoat is. It's an innocent victim that bears the guilt, the penalty, the blame, the shame of others. This could never, brothers and sisters, be applied or said of Satan. I hope you really think about these things.
Okay, so let's think about it, as he said. I want you to note how he describes or defines the scapegoat as someone who is innocent that bears the guilt for someone else. A person who is blameless that bears the guilt for someone else, and therefore we know that this is what Jesus did, and therefore the scapegoat is Jesus. But there's a problem with that. And I want you to check out Leviticus chapter 16, verse 8. The Bible says here, "And Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat." So the assumption is that the word scapegoat here means a person who is innocent but bears the guilt and shame for someone else. But let's actually see what the word means. So here we have it on the screen, Azazel, it's from two words, as or as, meaning goat, and then the other word is Azazel. Hebrew 235, that's the Strong's number. And I want you to check out what this word actually means according to the Strong's Concordance. We're also going to look at the Brown's Hebrew Dictionary, and I want you to check out, again, the meaning of this word. So goat, as, and then Azel, which literally means to go away, hence the term depart, or to disappear, to fail. And then it kind of repeats, right? To go to and fro. The word literally means to disappear, to go away, or to fail. So the goat as a failure, the goat that disappears, the goat that goes away. Now, what about the Brown's, according to Brown's definition of the word? It, again, says to go away, to go about, to be used up, to be exhausted, to be gone, evaporated. So in essence, the term Azazel, literally in its definition, has nothing to do with an innocent person taking the blame for someone else. an innocent person, an innocent being taking the blame for something else. That's not in the definition of this word. Now, I know what you're thinking. The word scapegoat literally means someone who is innocent and takes the blame for somebody else, someone who is blamed falsely. But hold your thoughts. This word, remember how I told you that the word also means fail? We find the very word used in Job chapter 14, verse 11. As the waters fail, so that's Azazel, as the waters fail from the sea, and the flood decayeth and drieth up. That's Job chapter 14, verse 11. Let's look at this same verse in a couple of different translations, and you'll see what I mean. So in the Brenton's translation, it is translated as, for the sea wastes in length of time. BSB, as the water disappears. DRB, as if the water should depart. The TLV, as waters evaporates, as water evaporates. So what I want you to see here is how the word is translated in different translations. Wastes, disappears, depart, evaporate, fail. The goat, check this out, y'all. The term then, Azazel, would literally mean the goat of failure, or the goat of departure, or the goat that evaporates, or the goat that disappears. Now, if we're going to say that Jesus is a symbol, or Azazel symbolizes Jesus, this goat is a representation of Jesus, then you got to ask yourself, how is Jesus the goat of failure? How is Jesus the goat that departs? How is Jesus the goat that evaporates? How is Jesus the goat that disappears? That would be a very strange way to refer to Jesus. However, if Azazel is Satan, as I demonstrated in the sermon, the link that the sermon I shared with you earlier, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Let's read Ezekiel 28, verses 18 and 19, which speak about Lucifer, who wanted to be like God, who was without blemish. We read that in Ezekiel 28. Notice verse 18. It says, thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee. In other words, you're going to be evaporated. It's going to devour you, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be anymore. You are going to disappear. You are going to cease to be. You who were one time without spot, without wrinkle, you who were one time perfect in your ways, Ezekiel 28, verses 14 onward, you who were at one time perfect, you are going to become nothing. You're going to disappear. You're going to evaporate. You're a failure. You failed in your mission. Let's keep going. The question then becomes, well, where did this idea of an innocent person being blamed for the guilty come in this word scapegoat? So let's break this down. William Tyndale is responsible for translating the Bible, the first person to translate the Bible from Hebrew and Greek to English in 1530. And what Tyndale did when it came to Leviticus chapter 16, he translated the word Azazel in this way. In fact, I'm just going to read it on the screen. So it says here, Christian tradition similarly acknowledged that one goat was to be slaughtered for atonement of the community, but the second goat, bearing the community's sins, was understood to have simply gone free, to have escaped. Escaped. Let me say that word one more time. Escaped. Tyndale named this goat the not scapegoat, but escapegoat, which evolved later to be used as scapegoat. So let's break this down. We're going to go to Tyndale's Bible. And I can't read Old English, but this is the English they were using at the time, why we call it Old English. Okay? So in Leviticus chapter 16, verse 8, it says, an arrow cast lots over the goat one lot for the Lord, add another for a scapegoat. Now, you're looking at the word scapegoat and you're saying, yes, see, it's there. Tyndale didn't say a scapegoat. He said scapegoat in the Old English. But here's what I want you to notice. In verse 10, it says, but the goat on which the lot fell to scape. Please note that the word scape here in Old English is escape. Therefore, when he writes in verse 8, another for a scapegoat, the term literally means a scapegoat. Not a scapegoat, but a scapegoat, the goat that escaped, the goat that went away, the goat that got away, that escaped death, escaped the death penalty, was not sacrificed. The Old English word scapen from the early 13th century means to escape, depart from, and is shortened from, or is a shortened form of escape. It was frequently used in prose until the late 17th century, and by the late 14th century, it also meant avoid death, peril, punishment, or other danger. So the scapegoat, when Tyndale translated it, did not mean an innocent person who takes the blame or an innocent being that takes the blame for someone else. It was the scapegoat. So how did we come to the place where we now say the word scapegoat means an innocent person who blames or who bears the guilt for someone else? Well, let's check this out. Last slide, and then we're wrapping this up. AI, just check AI on this. The term scapegoat was later adopted in English in the 15th century to refer to someone who was punished or blamed for the mistakes or wrongdoing of others. Initially, the term was used figuratively to describe someone who bore the blame or punishment for others, but it wasn't necessarily meant to imply innocence. Over time, however, the term took on a more negative connotation, implying that the person being blamed was indeed innocent and being unfairly punished or criticized for the actions of others. This sense of injustice and unfairness is a relatively recent development dating back to the 19th or early 20th century. In modern English, the term scapegoat is often used to describe a situation where an individual or a group is unfairly blamed for the problems or failures of others. The usage is often associated with psychological or social dynamics, where individuals or groups may be targeted for blame or criticism due to their perceived vulnerability, powerlessness, or lack of resources. So while the term scapegoat has its roots in ancient Jewish rituals, its modern connotation of unfairly blaming an innocent person is a relatively recent development. So come on, y'all, listen carefully. Here's what's happening. People are taking the modern term of the word scapegoat, which is a incorrect understanding of what the original term that was used by Tyndale, the scapegoat, and they're putting the modern day reading or modern day understanding of scapegoat, and they're saying they're reading that modern day reading back into the original text. And when you do that, beloved, you end up with something that is foreign to the Bible. Leviticus chapter 16 was in no way indicating that the scapegoat was innocent and bearing the sins of others, though it was innocent. Not at all. Not in the text. This is Azazel, the goat of failure, the goat of departure, the goat that evaporates, the goat that disappears, the goat that fails. Jesus is not a failure. The Bible specifically says that he will not fail, nor be discouraged till he has set his law in the isles. The goat of failure is not the Lord's goat. The Lord's goat is not the goat of failure. The goat of failure does not die, is not offered up as a sacrifice. It is not the same part of a sacrifice. If it was, there would be no need to cast lots. None whatsoever. On the other days of sacrifice, there's no casting of lots. All kinds of different animals are being sacrificed. We know all pointing to Christ. But this is the singular case in which there are lots cast between these two goats. So, here's the challenge. The idea that the scapegoat is an innocent, represents an innocent being bearing the punishment for others is foreign to the Bible. Please tell us where you get that definition from in the scriptures, because it's not there. All right, that's it, y'all. That's a wrap. We made this short. Next time someone comes to you with the scapegoat and this is what it means, remember this information, all right? Okay, blessings, y'all. And hopefully this is sticking right here. And may God bless you as you continue to search for and understand truth, the truth of the Word of God. Till next time.